Hello everyone. So one of the biggest topics today is generative AI, in general AI, machine learning, topics like this. So although those topics are quite interesting, they're also very difficult to understand because you need to have a bit of a statistics background before you can essentially start using those models, or you can until you can build your models in an appropriate way. However, I realized that in the past I was playing around a bit with, well, not as fancy, not as advanced technology, but I was able to essentially build a small engine to compare, in this case, well, any kind of model in the C Sharp. So what I did here, I created a model which is called article, and the idea is that I find similar articles for my website, let's say. So to do this, I'm actually using Jaccard's index, and if you're not familiar with this, essentially there is a Wikipedia page where you can actually in the image image on the right side, you can see that essentially Jaccard index, it calculates the intersection between two sets. So in this case, really sets A and B. So when you know this, and when you're a relatively good developer with access to Stack Overflow, then you can quite simply see how to write a code to calculate this index. And this is something that I did for you already. So as you may see here, the code is relatively simple. It's very easy to digest. Essentially we're having two lists of strings here, left and right. So same as it is in these images, left and right, and we're trying to get the intersection of those two lists. For this, I also built a bit of a tests. So I built a few of the tests here, and essentially what I did, I built a couple of articles with the different tags. So as you may notice here, let me make this a bit better. Oopsie, ID, no, okay, never mind. You will see that in article 1 we have certain tags going on Apple side. So we have Apple, MacBook, iPhone, event. Those are the tags. So the tags in this case for the article model, just to explain you this a bit, they're used generically to describe the content of the article. So if the title is, I guess the title of this one should be, I don't know, some Apple event or whatever. The title of article 2 could be that there is some Champions League match in a football, obviously, between I don't know, maybe some now Saudi club versus some States club, which is quite impossible if it's the Champions League in the case, but doesn't matter. Article 3 has the same tags as it has Article 1, and then we have Article 4, which has actually a bit more tags than Article 3 and Article 1. Now, what I did here, I built a few tests, and I said, okay, calculate me Jaccard's index between Article 1 and Article 2, where Article 1 is talking about the Apple, Article 2 talks about football. So when you do this, when you calculate, the index is actually 0, which means that those two articles don't have any common ground whatsoever. If you actually compare 1 and 3, similarity is 1, so they're essentially the same articles. And also if you compare 1 and 4, you have a bit of a different thing, because you have here iPad listed, while here you don't have an iPad. And here we have more tags. We have 5 tags, while here we have a 4. So 4 out of the 5 tags are going to be the common, which means 80% or 0.8 will be index of Jaccard. So essentially similarity index will be 0.8, which is actually quite nice. So what is the value of this one? The value is very simple. You can, on your website now, if you're building a lot of content, you can, in a suggested column, you can put, when someone is reading Article 1, you can put Article 3 and then Article 4. So they will be very similar, and then there is a bigger chance that users are going to click on another article. On the same note, article 2 is not going to be showed probably nowhere on that common page, but yeah, that's the whole idea. Now, obviously, this implementation can be extended a bit. Oops, sorry, where it is. Sorry, I missed it. So it's here. This can be extended a bit because what we're doing right now, we're essentially just comparing two sets of strings. So if you're a bit more flexible here, what we can do is we can build here some sort of an interface, let's say, and inside the models, I will say something like descriptive base. Descriptive, I don't know is the right name, but it doesn't matter. And here I'm just going to name this as interface. And what I want to do here, I want to say, not public, I just want to say a list of string, and I will say this is a tags. And what else can I say? I can maybe say here ID, that we know that this descriptive base has certain ID. And what now we can do, we can go to the article and we can say that this is I descriptive base. We will implement the missing member, which is ID. And now we have our article with a descriptive base, which means that now we can exchange Jaccard index a bit, and we can say, okay, something like, let me actually just copy paste this. Here I can say, I can get a list of I descriptive base. So on the left side and on the right side, I will just have, for instance, just one. So I want to, what I want to do here, I want to compare multiple articles against my article. So let's say if right article represents an article which user is actually reading, the left articles will be all the articles that could be common. So you would need to read them somewhere from the database or something like this based on the tags that this guy has. But at the end, we would actually calculate the similarity between those. So as I have a list here, what I can do is I can do something like for each left var L, and I can say var index equals something like this. I don't do return, and then left is going to be it's going to be L dot tags intersect right dot tags. And then what I'm going to do here as well, left at L dot tags union right dot tags. So in this case, I will get an index. And what do I actually also need to return is we can have here something, we can build another model here, and we can say Jaccard, or should we put here similarity, something like this, because it doesn't necessarily need to be Jaccard. Let's say here similarity index. No, bad. Similarity model. That's actually a bit better. Enter. We make it public. Come on. Public, and then here we can say something like public string ID. So which element do we actually compare, and we can say decimal similarity. So similarity at best can be 1 or 0. So the worst is 0, the best is 1. So what we're going to return here, we will return list of this little gentleman, similarity models, and then we can say here var return list equals new list of similarity model, something like this. Very well. And then here obviously we can say return list add new similarity model, and then we can say ID is L, that's ID, and we can say similarity is actually an index. Great, so we did this, and now I will say return me a return list. And what is wrong? What is wrong? Double index. Because I said that this is decimal. My bad. It should be double. Decimal is a bit performance difficult, but better. So we have now a chance to calculate the similarity between multiple articles. Now, how do we do this? We can do this also with a test. So I will say here public void comparing list of comparing descriptive base models index should be calculated correctly, something like this. Okay, the name is not really the best one. So what we can do here, we can say something like var left, let's say something like this, is new list of what do we put, article, sorry, I forgot the name of the article, very well. And then here we can say something like article 1, article 2. No, actually, let's start with 2. What did I compare? Always 1. Okay, article 2, article 3, article 4, and that's it. And then what I want to say is something like this. Comparison results. I want to pass all the lefts against my right. Let me just do it. Article 1, I believe. Right? Let me just see. He's actually complaining a bit. I descriptive base. Static similarity model. Why do you compare? Cannot convert model to what did I call? Calculate Jaccard index. I descriptive base. Maybe I can just say I descriptive base here, and then it's better, like it's interface. Sorry, it's a bit late. It's a bit late when I do this. Okay, so now I can say comparison results first where ID equals article 2 ID should be, so when we compared article 1 and article 2, the index similarity was 0. First, okay, that similarity should be 0, and then the same thing we're going to do with 3 and 4. So I'm just wondering, is this going to work? So 3 is 1 and 4 is 0.8. So let's try it out. And of course this needs to be a test method, and I'm way too lazy to write it on my own. So let's just play this test and let's see, is it red or is it green? Hopefully it builds. No, it's red. So let's see, it tells me that first article 3 ID should be 1, but it was 0. Okay, let me just see article 3. What is my article 3? When I compare article 3 with my article 1, this should actually be 1. Let me just debug this quickly. I'm wondering what seems to be wrong. So let's go inside, return list. So left is with the tags Champions League, whatnot. This guy is Apple. whatnot, and then here we have more. So for the first one it's 0. Very well. So for the second one I have Apple MacBook event, so index should be 1. It is 1. Okay, this makes sense because we haven't assigned the IDs for the products. Okay, that is usually a problem. So we just need to go to tests here, and when I describe this guy, I'm just going to say ID equals grid, new grid, to string, something like this, and then I can do the same things for this fine gentleman, and guess what? This fine gentleman. So now this should be hopefully a bit better. Let's see. And yeah, this one is now green. Let's do all of them. Very well. So it seems that everything is working as expected now, which is pretty cool. So yeah, feel free to grab the code. Feel free to grab this bit of a code, and yeah, maybe it becomes quite useful for you to, you know, build a relatively cheap suggestion algorithm. So thank you very much, and yeah, have fun. Bye bye.